Hey guys, I just want to do a video real quick. I'm not even sure honestly if I did this before, or maybe I did something kind of like it, or I just said it in a reading. I don't know, but it's been coming up. I find it a lot, like either in other people's videos that I watch every now and then, or like I've just seen other people make comments on it, but where people make comments about the masculine or men, where they say that, like, they're not on track, or they're doing this or that, or they're just lost, or like come on guys, we're coming, we're waiting on you and all that. And I get it. I get where the thought comes from between, what the feminines or the divine feminine thinks about, what the masculines or divine masculines are doing. And I find a lot of people portray the feminines as being highly evolved and where they're supposed to be, and that they're waiting on the males, and the males are just lost, and they're not where they're supposed to be, and the females are getting tired of waiting, or they're just like, oh, come on, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. I really do get it. But at the same time, like, it kind of irks me every time I hear it, where there's almost like sometimes people don't put it in a negative way, and sometimes people do put it in a negative or condescending way. And I guess really my point of what I'm trying to make is that I think any female, in my opinion, this is my opinion, and I usually make videos and say things just to get people thinking. So it doesn't even mean it's right. I just say it to get people thinking. But in my opinion, any female or feminine who says that she has done most of her healing, or she's done healing, or that she is like, God, I've been waiting, like he's holding her up, and that he's not where he's supposed to be, and she's just waiting, holding the space, holding the door, holding all this stuff for the male to come, because he's what's wrong in the equation, whether it's meant that way or not. I think that feminine who says that should maybe isn't as evolved as she thinks she is. Maybe, I mean, she might be evolved, but maybe, like, she has more to go for sure. Because in my opinion, a feminine who has done more of that heart healing, or has more of that perspective that is in a wholeness, and I say this with respect, like maybe somebody's going through, they don't have that perspective shift yet. Maybe I don't, who knows? Or they just have anger or resentment, or they're more held on than they think. But I feel like if you were in more of a healed state and in that codependent state, like there was something, more to heal here, you would understand and have compassion for wherever they are. And also knowing that they're exactly where they're supposed to be. Yes, sometimes people resist things. I'm on my healing journey. I resist things all the time. But that doesn't mean I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I mean, yes, I could be farther along, and sometimes I get down on myself about that. But who's to say that in timing wise, I'm supposed to be exactly here because something's going to be coming at a certain time that if I wasn't here wouldn't match up just right then, A lot of times the reason that feminines say that is because they are upset. They are getting triggered, which means that he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Because I look at it a lot of times energetically, like the masculines hold the door open for the feminines to ascend. That doesn't mean they're not doing their work in the meantime, but what I'm saying is, because a lot of the times the way it works, that most of the time the masculine energy is the runner and the feminine is the chaser. Yes, it occasionally switches off, but for the most part, masculines tend to be the runners, feminines tend to be the chasers. I lost my train of thought for a second, but if they didn't do what they do, if the masculines didn't do what they do, the feminines wouldn't be pushed to do what they do. So I look at it energetically like they're holding, it's almost like energetically like they're holding that door open and they're giving them a little push to push the feminines. Because a lot of times the work the feminines do is because of the masculines. Yes, it's because of themselves. Yes, it's because they love themselves. Yes, it's because they'd go crazy if they didn't. Yes, it's because the universe and spirit is pushing them and their guides. I get it. But a lot of times, I mean, that's what a lot of this spiritual relationship is about, is pushing each other to ascend. So of course, if you're using the connection properly, it's going to push you to ascend. And usually the way it goes is that the masculines, the way they are, trigger the females and push them, which also triggers the males. Then they're doing their work. But usually when that comes is when the woman does her work, the feminines do their work, they ascend, and then they do their healing, and they also do some of the masculines' healing. It's just the way it goes. They do. So they do some of the masculines' healing. So then they raise vibration, and the masculines then start healing and raise their vibration and match up. And then that's usually when the intuitions start kicking their connections together. The telepathy starts picking off, the dreams, the thinking about each other, all that. The connection starts getting where you can feel it stronger again. And then sometimes that'll push you to reach out, one or the other, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, they're not right where, because the feminines still have an expectation. So they trigger the females, and then they go and do that work again. And then they heal themselves and heal some of the masculine. It just is what it is, like I said. And then they raise vibration. The masculines are still watching. They do some of the work. They raise up, and it just keeps doing this. And I don't know where it'll go in the higher things, and who knows where it ends after that. That's part of the journey, is the releasing expectation to know. But my point in saying this is, because it's that little dance back and forth, I don't know. It just irks me when I hear feminines say that. And I'm a little more irked right now just because of Mercury retrograde, so whatever. But it just irks me when I hear people say that, where it's just like, oh, come on, masculines, we're waiting for you. Like, you're not in the right spot. You're not doing your work. You're not doing this. What are you talking about? I mean, maybe they're not where you want them to be. Like, how do you know what they're supposed to do? Maybe your guys have told you, whatever. I don't know. Who knows? But how do you know where they're supposed to be? Like, they have their own individual journey. So even if your guides are like, here's where they're supposed to be, and you do know, I'll give it to you. Maybe you do. I doubt it that distinctly, but maybe you do. If you were where you're supposed to be, or at a more healed, compassionate place, because this is about compassionate, unconditional love, you wanting what's best for a person and what makes them happy in their journey, regardless whatever it has to do with you or not, right? And you could be like, well, they're not happy, but it's their journey and you have free will. And when you love somebody unconditionally, you love them unconditionally, and that includes accepting where they are in their journey. But besides that, let's keep in mind that they are more than likely where they're supposed to be. Because if you're making a comment like that, where you're still dependent on them, where they've triggered you, where now you've got to go do work, now you're releasing anger and resentment and expectations, and that bondage is showing through, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And they're exactly where they're supposed to be. You just don't like it. And you're judging it, and you're projecting it. And I know one day I might eat these own words. But it still is what it is. I understand the humanness in the journey, so I'm not trying to be judgmental or condescending about it. I'm just trying to get you guys and people to think about this. Maybe it'll trigger something and you don't take exactly what I'm saying, but you take a part of it where you're like, I didn't think about that before. Like, if you're literally sitting there downing the masculines about where they are, if you're in that energy of downing them, or acting like you are above them, chances are they're exactly where they're supposed to be. and your reaction proves it. Just something to think about. Because if they weren't, and you were really where you were supposed to be, you wouldn't react that way. You would be accepting, you'd be grateful, you'd be compassionate, and you'd be unconditional loving. And you would go back on your way, doing your own stuff in fulfillment and love and happiness, and allow them to go back on their journey of what they're doing, and just go back and do it and have no resentment, no bitterness, and no anger. And for anybody who wants to say like, well, no, they keep coming back and bothering me and blah, 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 it still confirms like what I'm saying, because where are you evolving in this if the cycle is still happening? Are you changing your boundaries? Are you changing what is required for them to come back into your life? Like, are you evolving in some way to be able to be loving and compassionate and understanding, but still protective of your life and your heart and what you have going on, to where not just anybody, even them, can just walk in and disturb your peace or what you have going on? It still shows you something about yourself to learn and grow. It's still going to trigger you because you still have more growth to go then at that point. So it still kind of shows what I'm saying. Please just think about that, because it really gets to me every time I hear that. I mean, it doesn't get to me. I don't lose sleep over it, but you get what I'm saying, where I'm just like, it's annoying. It's like, come on, guys, let's remember, you know, what the point of all of that is. And it just, it irks me a little bit, because there's a little bit of judgment and entitlement there that is like, I don't know if the perspective is seen, where it's like, do you not know what you sound like and where you're coming from right now? And you're also speaking like that and projecting it to the masculine that you're wanting to come to in a loving way to you? I mean, yes, you have to stand on your boundaries and everything, but are you really presenting in the way that you want to present? Is that what you want to show forth? Is that the message you want to bring forth? And even if you're like, well, that doesn't matter, my point is still remains, if you're reacting in that way, and anybody who says that is coming across in a resentful, judgmental, and entitled way, and that means that that masculine did exactly what they were supposed to do, and you may not be as more evolved than him as you think. He, meaning masculine energy. Just want to give you guys something to think about on that. Take it wherever you want. Don't take all of it if you don't. Take a piece of it if you do. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying you're wrong. Most of the time when I talk, it's just thoughts that I have, and I really want to get people thinking, okay? And not just being like this. So I love you guys. I'll be seeing and talking to you soon. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell. I put out different types of videos. Comment below on what you think about what I'm saying. Yeah. So I love you, and I'll be seeing and talking to you soon.